proof of a degenerate mind.
Don't mind me just stealing your cash, money.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
You fools, you adopt. Alright, we have enough money? We do have enough money.
What did you idiots do?
Blast me, I dare you. You wouldn't, that's what I thought. I haven't played Skyrim in like 10 years. I'm trying to press Y to jump. Oop, dusted. Hey, achievement unlocked. Super Looper. Loop 10 times. Okay, now you have to go save the lives. You'll live his life. There you go. Have fun. I'm gonna go save, Utopia. Nope. Opus. Opus. Opus.
Ah, a fellow traveler from a faraway land.
Salve, friend. I'm Octavia.
Salve, salve.
Welcome to life under the golden rule. It's a ghastly thing, is it not? How are you faring, so
How am I faring?
Ah, another stoic, perhaps. We all need something to help us through times like these. We've all been where you are now. I remember when I first arrived. I used to lay awake at night contemplating the big questions. Why am I here? Is there a way out? What is the Golden Rule, and who or what is responsible for it? I still don't have any of the answers, I'm afraid. I don't think anybody does. But I'm happy to share with you what I've learned.
Sure, why not? I've skipped you the other 3 times.
Has me earning my keep by cleaning and pruning the gardens. It's not quite how I expected my life to go. I used to live in a lovely villa on the banks of the Tiber. I was even betrothed to a handsome young man from a prominent family. But long hours of menial labor for the good of the community has its own charms too, I suppose. Oh, much the same way as many of the others. When the fires came to Rome 7 months ago, my family and I fled for the Tiber, hoping to escape on a barge. We were among the fortunate ones with enough coins for passage, but unfortunately, there were a lot of desperate people, and they boarded before we could depart. A scuffle broke out, and I was pushed overboard. The last thing I remember was the water, rising up to hit my cheekbone. I woke up by the river, near that shrine, and stumbled across this place. Oh, that's all right.
Oh, that's all
I'm
right.
sure it's all part of God's plan for me.
And they love Drake, don't they?
Oh yes, of course. A slip of the tongue. If you like. I'm afraid not. Although, I did once hear someone gossiping down at Aurelia's tavern about a possible way out. I don't put a lot of stock in such rumors, but if you're desperate and wealthy, you could look into it, I suppose. If that doesn't work, then I suppose we're all stuck here until the gods decide our fate.
That's right, Octavia.
I hope it works out.
We already know it's Hemlock, but do I have to buy it myself?
Many shall suffer for the sins of the one. I think about those words a lot. I'd like to think that if we all love our neighbors as ourselves and do to them as we'd have them do to us, then we'll all be fine. But on the other hand, I was always taught the intent of man's heart is evil from his youth, and that all of us are born with a tendency towards sin. And that's where I get stuck. Is it true? Are we born with a tendency towards sin? You don't think that's a little naive? I suppose you've never seen what I've seen. Innocent men and women, torn apart in arenas while thousands of Romans look on and cheer. If that's true, then sooner or later, things are going to end badly for all of us down here. Unless, of course, there's some kind of divine intervention. I wish I shared your faith.
Obviously, come on, I got a bridge to jump off of.
Please keep that to yourself. I know you're not from around here, but things are very difficult for us right now. There was a terrible fire in Rome last year, and our emperor decided to make us his scapegoats. There were executions. It was horrible. Oh, thank you. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. All right.
I can't believe this.
Alright. I got you your money. Don't jump.
No. Orpheus, what are you doing?
That's
What?
what
I...
I'm. Well, if I. Really? Wait. So, I guess you'd want me to.
I've never seen your face before.
You'd do that for us? Couple of complete strangers. It seems today we are both blessed. This did not.
Let's go vote for magistrate, and we'll call you know,
Friend,
easy peasy.
I never thought people like you existed. Thank you. I'll go and.
You know how many? That's a blood money, my friend.
I just wish there was some way
There were
I
like
could repay you,
100 deaths happened for that.
but I have nothing but the tunic on my back. Ah, and there it is. All right. Scintilla and I were in love. And then, 22 days ago, she went missing. All right. One night a few months ago, when I was cleaning Malleolus's villa, I heard a young woman singing. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever heard. I wasn't allowed out, so once everyone else was asleep, I climbed up the inside of the villa and onto the roof, just to see where that sound was coming from. And that's when I saw her. Standing in the garden of the magistrate's villa, I just sat there on the roof, listening to her with my chin on my knees. And for the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful. And then she looked up and saw me, and she smiled. I knew at that moment the fates had brought me to her, and from the moment she asked my name with this warmth and curiosity, I knew I'd have done anything for her. And so for weeks on end, each night I'd climb out of the villa and into her father's garden. We'd hold hands and talk about all the things we'd do once we got out
Hold
of here.
hands.
Like having our own vineyard. And then one morning I woke up and everyone was out searching for her. They said she'd vanished in the night. All I could do was keep my head down and try to hide how beside myself I was. Scintilla was the one thing that made my life bearable. But with her gone, things unraveled quickly. You saw how bad it got. I swear by the gods of Rome, I don't know what happened to her. All I know is she loved me. And if she had known a way out, she would have told me. She'd never have taken her
Bluffing
own
has not
life.
worked once.
And there's no way anybody
Only
could
one
follow
lie worked
the
too.
golden rule. I can't prove it.
That was a
but I
joke
just
lie.
know she's still alive somehow. Even now, it's as if I can hear her voice.
She was
in my
statued?
head. crying out to me. That can only mean one thing. Somebody abducted her. I have no idea how or who would want to do something like that to such a sweet, lovely girl. But what else could have happened? My guess? Malleolus had something to do with it.
I don't want your guess. I want your
He was,
facts.
without doubt, the most evil man I have ever known. I have no idea where he'd be keeping her, but there is one room in his villa, upstairs, which is always locked. I've never seen the inside of it, and I haven't been able to steal a key without breaking the golden rule. But I have a feeling that if you could get in there somehow, it would shed light on a great many things. Oh, I see. That was the only idea I had. I'll give it some more thought. Come and find me a little later. I'll go and take care of things with Malleolus and tell Yulia the good news. Thanks again, friend. I'll never forget what you did for us.
Alright. Oh, he's booking him, man. So, this ground isn't broken. That's definitely his charred corpse, right? Have I been in here yet? No. Can I? We'll meet with them in a minute. I haven't really explored that much. Kind of surprised I'm alive. What are you talking at? Did hear him. Who are you? Oh.
Welcome.
Shalom. I feel like I've looked everywhere. At least everywhere I could get to. There are still two places I've never been able to reach. First, the palace. If Navia managed to get in, then I suppose Centilla could have too. The only other place she could be is somewhere in the cistern network. I remember hearing that Dooley had been poking around in the old cistern before he was locked up. So you could ask him about it, I suppose. You mean where am I from and all that? Judea, originally. But when I was a child, I moved to Rome with my family, Romanized my name and spent most of my life in the Jewish district of Trans-Tiberim, across the Tiber from the main city. That's where I was when the fires broke out. Everyone was running toward the river, and I, listening to my inner contrarian, ran the other way. Every road leading out of Rome was in chaos, full of people with all their belongings in carts and brigands preying on them. Several hours down the Appian Way, I saw another Jewish family being attacked by 3 opportunists. So I picked up a branch from the side of the road and went to defend them. I can only assume they got the better of me, because the next thing I knew, I was waking up in a forest, by a river not far from here, with no memory of how I got there. It's strange though, because I still had my purse on me. Why would a robber knock me unconscious and throw me in a river, but not take my coins? You're right. I always just assumed the river carried me, but I'm not sure I was anywhere near the Tiber when I fell. I'm sure it'll all make sense if we ever get out of here. I don't. But even if I did, I'm not going anywhere. I have unfinished business. Well, neither of us have a couple of hours to stand around talking about theology, law, and collective punishment, so I guess you're looking for a pithy summary? You remind me of an old story from my people about Hillel the Elder. He was approached by a Gentile and asked to explain the entire Torah while he stood on one foot. Obliging, he replied, "What is hateful to you, do not do to another. That is the whole Torah. The rest is commentary. Go and learn." Of course, what I want to know is, what kind of a god sees a young woman abducted and does nothing about it? Not my god, that's for sure. Thanks. I just wish there was a way to find out. Sentius, I suppose. I'd have to be insane to vote for Malleolus after what he did to me.
+1.
All right, friend. Thanks for the chat.
Salve again, friend. I went and did as you asked, and it worked. How is it possible that you've just arrived here and you already know everyone and exactly what's about to happen to them? You're toying with me, right? Wait, you're not kidding, are you? That's the only way you could have known. You're a bit like... Oh, what was his name? Sisyphus. Yeah, that's the one. Old King Sisyphus. Sisyphus was a Greek king a long time ago. For daring to think he could outsmart the gods, he was given a terrible punishment. He was forced to push a great boulder up to the top of a hill.
I played Hades.
As it reached the top, it would roll all the way back down to the bottom, forcing him to start over and over and over again for all eternity. Just like you. There are a bunch of old stories about the gods punishing people by making them do the same futile task over and over. Tantalus was made to grasp at fruit on a tree he could never quite reach. The Pleiades had to keep fetching water in a sieve. Oh, and Ixion was strapped to a wheel going round and round forever. But on the bright side, at least you're not stuck in the underworld like they all were. Anyway, I don't know which god you managed to upset to get yourself into this position, friend, but you seem all right to me. So, I'll tell you what, I'll keep doing whatever I can to help you, and you just focus on finding a way to break the cycle you're in. Anytime, friend. Now, I'm going to keep your secret. Although, it's not as if I'll remember this next time we talk anyway, right? Oh, and if our conversations ever start to annoy you, just tell me you're busy. I know when I'm not wanted. May fortune smile on you, friend. I saw you slide down that rope before. Very impressive.
Did you?
And strange, too, since that device you used is exactly the same as one I've been working on for weeks. Oh, of course! It's because I already gave it to you in a previous time loop, isn't it? Anyway, I'm sorry to ask, but is there any chance you'd be willing to do me a favor? Well, I've been trying to get this rare flower. Do you... Really? You already have it? I picked it up in a previous loop, I suppose. It's gonna take me a while to get my head around that. This is going to make her so happy. Equitia, I mean. Now I just have to figure out how to give it to her. What I really want to do is walk up to her, give her the flower, and confess I've been madly in love with her since the moment we met. But on the other hand, I can't shake the feeling that the consequences could be... terrible. You mean, aside from her execution? You see, Equitia is a Vestal priestess, meaning she's taken a vow of chastity, the breaking of which would be an extremely serious affront to the gods and a capital offense. Even if she was just suspected of being unchaste, it could lead to her execution. Unchaste Vestals get buried alive. Oh, and I'd get flogged to death for good measure. But at the same time, she's just so kind and graceful, and I feel so much love for her that if I don't tell her, it'll burn a hole in my chest. I don't know what to do. What do you think? What would you do?
You know, knock yourself out.
I suppose you're right. What I need is a go-between. Someone who can tell her how I feel and find out how she feels without risking her life. What do you say? Do you think you could help me? Wonderful! Now, all I need you to do is give her the flower and tell her it's from a secret admirer. Tell her I'll keep my distance and that I just want her to know that she's loved. Thank you. Come back as quick as you can and tell me what she says.
Oh, no.
Keeping an eye on things, Horatius?
As always, priestess.
Any news about Centilla, Navia, or Kabash?
No sign of any of them, I'm afraid. But we do have a newcomer. Strangely dressed woman. Pretty, though.
A traveler from a faraway land, then?
Seems that way.
Then let's make sure she feels welcome, shall we?
Of course, priestess.
A new face. Ave, and may Vesta watch over you. I'm Interesting. I'm not sure why you're telling me, but you've come to the right person. Did you find a pattern then? What have you noticed? Yes, I also had such an encounter. What else? That's true. I know I wasn't entirely sure how I wound up here. What else?
You don't fully blink.
Yes, I understand many of our friends were carried here by a river current. It's as I feared. I think I understand what poor Livia has been going through. Let me ask you this. Did you happen to encounter a stranger in the forest before you arrived here? And did you happen to catch her name? I see. And was this stranger by any chance wearing a hood?
No,
Because I've seen her before.
it wasn't up, was it?
I think you should see. I think you'd better follow me to the baths. What? How could you know that? And why are you talking to me instead of doing something about it? Please, go and stop him, and come back to me once we're no
Oh,
longer
no.
in danger. Let me know.
Well, let's do one that earned the $2,000 again. Now, before we do that, we'll do other things first.
Ave,
Keep an eye out for Centilla, would you?
wish Horatius would stop letting Oh, you heard about her disappearance, I take it. Oh, really? That commoner in debt bondage next door thought he could win over a magistrate's daughter. That's awfully bold of him. I can see why she worked so hard to keep it a secret. Quick, go and find him and ask him what he knows. Oh, I see. Well, it was worth a try, I suppose. Just promise me you won't give up on her. Thank you. Oh, look, you're back. How lucky for me. Oh.
I have a note.
What? Really? I swear, I searched her room top to bottom and never saw that. I wonder
It was
how
on the
I could have
bed.
missed it. Strange, but well done, I suppose. But it's odd. It was only a few months ago that Centilla's friend Yulia let slip she was planning an escape of her own. And yet, Yulia's still here. You should go and speak with her. Find out if she knows anything. She lives in the villa next door.
Keep an eye out for Centilla, would you?
Sorry, I'm still a bit out of it. Galerius just saved my life. Was there something you wanted? Lucretia says I'm supposed to rest. No. I did hear from Ulpius that she disappeared. It's very sad. She was such a lovely young woman. But I'd been locked in Malleolus's villa for months before she went missing, so I can't help you, I'm afraid. Our priestess, Equitia, once told me it's the god's way of creating a city without sin. But if that's the case, then whichever god is responsible for it didn't think it through. I mean, all it really does is make bad people better at hiding their sins, and good people too frightened to stand up for themselves. I've seen Malleolus, Claudia, and Domitius make grown men cry. Romans. They don't cry easily. They've never physically hurt anyone. But the point is, they don't have to. They've got people running scared because everyone knows Malleolus is the favorite to win today's election. Really? Then I hope fortune smiles on you, friend. All right. Goodbye.
Cisterns. Yeah.
Help! You have to do something! A man arrived in the baths. A real nasty sort, with his face all covered up. And he's got a weapon. You have to do something, or he's gonna break the golden rule.
Won't break the golden rule. I came over here to talk to Dolphy or whatever his name was.
Thank you. What? All right.
Why am I like this? Oh, we can tell the archer to go into this thing, can't we? Okay, I do need to go walk away for just a minute here. But, let me read this then. Okay. I'll talk to you in just a minute. Okay, I will be right back. My apologies. I'm here. What were we doing? Talking to Duppy. Dolly. I believe him.
Hello? Hello? My name's Dooley. I live here now because I got in trouble and they said they had to lock me up. I don't know. I don't remember things so good. I think it's just because I was looking for treasure. Yes, but I wasn't. I was just looking. They said I did it more than once, but I can't remember things so good. Then they called me mean names. They called me a liar, Billy.
Those hounds.
Yes. They said I have to live here now and gave me this letter. But I'm not good with words. Do you? You think you could read it for me?
Magistrate sentence explains Dooley was locked up to prevent him from trespassing. For the lapse of memory. Thank you.
What does it say?
Caught trespassing several times. I don't know how you work a mouse and keyboard. I do not. I don't have a cursor. There you go. Whoops.
My friend Hannibal used to look after me. He said he always would.
Fortune smile on you, sister.
But then, he died. It was very sad. He said, if anything ever happened to him, I had to find something very precious hidden away. He gave me this key and made me promise to keep it safe until I found the treasure. But I couldn't find it. All I remember is he said something about assistance. But when I went up to the high one, they put me in heels. Now nobody looks after me. Except my friend Galerius. And the priestess lady.
Brother, I don't blame you. I've heard her name as well.
She's a nice lady.
Equatoria? I don't know. You gotta be kind to Dolphy, man. Dooley. I didn't even call him Dolphy. That's just kind of mean. No. I don't want to choose this option. Thank you. I wish to do that one. I wish to met the controller.
Hannibal said I shouldn't give it to anyone I didn't trust. But maybe you could help me get out of here. Then I would trust you a lot. Galerius already tried that. He said the
Yeah, but
madness
I'm
rate
from the
was
future.
constant, no matter what. What about the rules? I don't want everyone to get in trouble because I was back. Like Galerius. He's nice. I like Galerius. He made me a doll and everything. If you help make him magistrate, he can get me out of here, and I can give you the key to my treasure. Hannibal said it was in the cisterns. I can't remember what it was, just that it was way up high and very precious. Bye-bye.
Alright.
Salve, Dooley. How are you doing today?
I'm sad. Am I going to die in here? Hello. Have we met before?
I didn't mean to talk to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Galarius. I'm in.
Whatever's in that great temple up there on the bluff.
Is he over here? No, do I have a mission that will mark him? Nope. I didn't do that, that's why. Glorious, talk to me, man. Change your vote.
Oh. Sentius.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Don't you just love springtime? Salve again, my Sisyphean friend. Now, what's on your mind? I've bounced the idea around once or twice, mainly as a way of getting Dooley set free. God knows Sentius is never going to do it. But from what I hear, Malleolus has the elections stitched up. Nobody's going to take him on and win. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. I mean, he talks a lot about freedom, so I'm hoping if he's elected, he'll release Dooley from his cell. That's good enough for me. And how could you know that? I mean, I don't like the man, but I don't see how you could know a thing like that. I suppose you're right. Because Sentius put him there. Poor Dooley.
We're supposed to talk to Sentius. He knows I'm from the future.
Some imaginary treasure. Now a magistrate accused him of being a thief. It's nonsense, of course. Dooley's the most harmless man you'll ever meet. But Sentius.
When you go find a magistrate, wherever he may be.
Citizen, we're finally alone. We have? Wait, if I understand correctly, someone is about to break the golden rule, forcing me to create a portal.
It was me every time, but someone will probably do it.
I must have entrusted you with figuring out who the culprit is. Only, I assume we failed.
Like, maybe like 2 dozen times already, my man.
Is that about right? If so, what happened? You broke it. Why in Pluto's name would you do that? Well, it seems you failed spectacularly. Look, it's unfortunate, but all that matters now is that you make use of what you've learned and gathered and do better next time. Now, I assume you sought me out again. You mean Duilius? Releasing him is out of the question, I'm afraid. That man is a liability we simply cannot afford. Perhaps you're not aware he was caught multiple times.
He will give you, like, +2 votes, my guy.
Look, I can see where you're going with this. You think me cruel. I assure you, that is not the case. You may not be aware.
I'm trying to help you, and you know that I'm trying to help you. You know I'm from the future.
The law of the
I'm just doing it because I like Doobie.
Required that he be killed as soon water and shelter, and most importantly, he is able to continue living. A privilege that would be taken away from all of us were he to be released and commit the crime of trespass. The man has no self-discipline, poor comprehension of what is going on around him.
This is ruthless. This is
An incorrigible rule breaker.
rebuttal after rebuttal.
Jeopardize the lives of my people so that one man can go free. Now, was there something else?
Yeah, I needed the freedom.
Of course. What is it?
I don't know who it is, so
Ask then. Good. Sextus Sentius Imperiosus is my name, though magistrate is the proper way to address me. Before I wound up here, I was a decurion in the cavalry of Imperial Rome, helping protect civilization from the barbarians. It's a cavalry officer. I had 30 men under my command. This was my uniform. As magistrate, I usually wear a toga, but today I may need to survive long enough to create the portal for you, so it seemed prudent. My men and I were at the Emporium in Rome as honor guard for a visiting dignitary arriving upriver by barge. Now the port is usually bustling, but just as our guests arrived, waves of people began running toward the river from streets and alleyways in every direction. They were trying to escape a terrible fire. Unfortunately, the crowd sent my horse into a panic, and I remember it losing its footing by the water's edge. The next thing I knew, I was waking up on a riverbank not far from here in the company of some stranger. I went looking for my horse and discovered that lonely temple. You can probably figure out the rest. I was elected 7 months ago, uncontested because of my command experience. Since then, there's been growing agitation for another election. They're supposed to be annual, but I agreed to hold it sooner, hoping it would placate my constituents. Unfortunately, it just seems to have emboldened certain elements instead. Very well. If I did, I'd have led these people out of here already. I've had plenty of time to think about it. Let me see if I can sum up my thoughts. I've always considered my guiding star to be the well-being of the Roman people. Our survival and prosperity have always hinged upon honoring the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. Give the gods what they want and we all prosper. Dishonor them and we all die. It's as simple as that. The real enemy in this place is not the golden rule, but human failings. The temptation to slide into degeneracy, greed, and hubris. I trust that answers your question. Thank you. I'll be
back to it. Okay, what else did we really do this life? I knew I'm gonna run. First we gotta deal with that dude. I don't really know how to do it. I feel like we can get him into the room, but I'm not sure.
Greetings and salutations.
Gorgeous. Yeah, we stacked. We're gonna get a bow too. Ooh, we could get a bow and that dealt with if we crush him. So.
Ah, a fellow traveler from a faraway land.
Salve.
Virgil?
Ah, a new face. Salve, and welcome to a little community. My name's impossible to pronounce for most people, so you can just call me Virgil.
Try me.
Here we have you to thank for saving Julia's life. I'm glad you arrived when you did. Well, I'm an architect. Or at least I was back in Rome. That's probably too grandiose a term to describe what I do here. Help out with repairs and try to stop old buildings from collapsing on people.
What do I got a building for you, my man?
Probably don't want to hear about the ingenious architecture or mysterious history of this place. Oh, I'm glad you asked. Some of these shrines were constructed hundreds of years ago, which means Romans have been arriving here for at least that long. But there's one thing that puzzles me. The oldest shrine in this avenue isn't Roman at all. It's Greek. Well, yes, that could be the reason. Or it could mean that there were Greeks living and worshipping here before the Romans arrived. Which begs the interesting question, who really built this place? And could it be far older than any of us imagine? If only there was a way we could talk to the people who came here before us. The stories they could tell. Gladly. Personally, my favorite thing about this place is the aqueducts. Those series of adjoining arches. They're an ingenious feat of Roman engineering with a very practical purpose. They take fresh water coming from outside the city and distribute it all across the chasm. It's funneled below the palace and into a cistern beneath the great temple. Some of it flows down into another cistern beneath the villas, and the rest is funneled to the shrine of Proserpina, where it fills the lake and allows us to fish and farm. Hey, not so loud. Just talking about that could anger the gods for all we know. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you'd have to find a way inside somehow. Just, please, try to be a bit more discreet about it. You mean the Great Temple? This one's a bit of a mystery. Given the way it's positioned so prominently, looking down on us, it's clear that whoever built it felt it was the most important temple in the city. Unfortunately, someone else went out of their way to keep its purpose a mystery. You see, usually a temple is dedicated to a particular god, like Proserpina or Diana or Apollo. Usually, that god is obvious. But in this case, it's unknown. There's an obelisk out the front, which probably used to bear the name of this unknown god. But it appears some barbarian defaced it. And of course we can't get inside because it's locked up tighter than the Temple of Saturn in Rome. And that contains the treasury. So we're all left wondering, which god is that temple dedicated to? And could it be the one responsible for the Golden Rule? Unless somebody figures out a way inside, I suppose we'll never know. Of course. You wouldn't believe how often the new ones ask that question. But I'd tell you the same thing I tell everyone else. There are much worse places to live out your days. You might have a few sleepless nights thinking about the Golden Rule, but once you get used to the fear, knowing that a single slip-up could cost you everything, it's not too bad. Nothing new to me, anyway. Oh, I just mean I grew up in the Batavi tribe, far to the north in Novio Magus, and learned to expect a bit of hostility. They weren't nearly as tolerant as the Romans. Some people say it's divine, the work of a god, but I'm not so sure. It just seems so flawed to me. Like it's distinctly human. I mean, once you've been here long enough, you'll notice people doing things that just seem so wrong to you. But this so-called god doesn't seem to care, which means one of two things. Either you don't know the difference between right and wrong, or this unknown god doesn't. And I'm pretty sure I know the difference. Do you? Good.
Absolutely.
Then I hope you'll agree that there are only two ways of dealing with unfair rulers. The first is to leave. The second is to remove the ruler from power. And it seems leaving may not be an option. Good question. It's best if I say no more, but I hope you'll give it some thought. Look, I haven't done anything wrong, if that's what you're thinking. Somebody just has a problem with my preference for male company. And when you grow up in the north, as I did, in the city of Novio Magus, you expect a bit of hostility. The Batavi are not known for their tolerance. I saw enough friends killed or driven away to know the cost of not keeping your personal affairs to yourself. So I hid who I was for, what was it, nearly 10 years? Watching what I said and where I looked. But that kind of fear eats away at you slowly, until living isn't any better than the thing you were afraid of. Needless to say, since I'm now living underground, halfway across the known world, with an assumed name, my openness didn't go down well among the enlightened folk of the Batavi. Nice of you to say, but not necessary. In any case, the Romans are far more accepting, and among them, I get to be who I am. Or at least I thought that was the case. It seems I was wrong. It's not just graffiti. I have quite a collection of handwritten notes too. The strange thing is, I keep my personal affairs to myself. I've never really been interested in any of the men here. Not my type. So I'm not sure what I could have done to upset this person. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably one of those cultists. Strange bunch. They insist there's only one god, and that he considers my nature a sin. Can you believe that? If there are any of them here, they won't admit it. Not since they supposedly burnt down half of Rome last year and went into hiding. All I know is, if these threats keep escalating, eventually my secret admirer is going to cross a line and break the golden rule. What? Really? I didn't expect that. But thanks. It's always a pleasure to meet someone so selfless. I'm glad you arrived when you did. I'd start by figuring out who the cultists are. Or maybe ask around among the merchants here. Someone who lives or works in the forum must have seen something. But if you find them, please don't hurt or humiliate them. I suspect they're just confused.
Someone with a blue eye and a green eye.
Come back and let me know what you find.
Greetings and salutations.
Don't suppose you change your eye color.